Alright everybody, how you all balling today? Because I'm doing good myself. If my voice is different, it's because I'm kinda sick. It's kinda hard to describe, but basically my voice is a little bit different. So otherwise I'm fine enough to make these videos. Don't worry about that. Now a trailer for the fourth season of The Boys came out, and it seems really interesting. And with that release date in mind, I want to prep you guys by talking about the show and catching you guys up on the show, so that way maybe we could kind of like, I can review it when the time comes, so that way, if you guys haven't seen it, you guys can just either watch the show or see a couple of my reviews to be relatively caught up. Now normally I would try not to spoil anything, but since The Boys has been going on for years, and since I'm going to talk about the fourth season of the show, and I may have to spoil things about that show when the time comes, I'm basically going to spoil what I feel like, so I'm going to keep it somewhat vague on detail, but if I spoil things, I spoil things, alright? So that's just how I'm feeling. Now, for this video, we're talking about Season 1, next one's going to be Season 2, and Season 3. Then we're going to take a detour and talk about the spin-off, Gen V. Then, when the time comes, and when the show is fully out, I'll talk about it. But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about this now. So, the premise, if you don't know, is quite simple. Superheroes are real. And not only are they real, but they're business. I'm talking big business. How Disney or Warner Brothers or Amazon or massive companies have borderline monopolies on a lot of things, and have this big pop culture control over a lot of things. Well, it's basically like that. Not only are the boys, aka the superheroes, have big government control on both sides, but they have law enforcement control because they're kind of like cops, and they're movie stars, so they basically have pretty much all the power in that world. And then, well, with that premise, naturally, Garth Ennis, the guy who originally created the Boys comic, reasonably posits that superheroes, if they were real, would be corrupt douchebags, you know what I mean? Corrupt pricks. That they wouldn't be altruistic. And that's what the story is about. It's about about how pretty much 99.99% of all superheroes are absolute scumbags, and there's only a handful of actually good superheroes. And it mainly talks about Vought, the company that mainly runs Supes, and the biggest company group of superheroes, the Seven. Basically a parody or a mockery or a deconstruction, whatever you want to call it, of the DC Justice League heroes. Black Noir as Batman, Queen Maeve as Wonder Woman, The Deep as Aquaman, and A-Train as The Flash, and a couple others. But the main guy is Homelander, aka Superman, but if he was an evil prick. Now, with a story like that, naturally, it's not focused on the heroes. It's focused on, civilians who got done dirty by heroes, such as our true main character, Huey Campbell. Now, Huey Campbell is, a wimp. He's a fairly weak guy. See, he originally had this girlfriend named Robin. Now, Robin, these two were very close, boyfriend, girlfriend, close boyfriend and girlfriend. Give it a couple more weeks or a few months, maybe even a year or even less, and they could have gotten married. They were locked in for real. They were, destined to kind of be together. But remember the douchebag superhero? Well, one of them, A-Train, he was in the middle of basically juicing Compound V, which we'll get to in a second. and he like ran through his girl, and I'm not talking five guys on one white girl meme. No, I'm talking like actual ran through, literally. Like it was a mess. Like he basically killed her, you know. Sure, it was by accident, but you know he didn't feel bad about it. He didn't really care, and Huey got pissed off. You know, he wanted revenge. He didn't want to take the hush money. He tried to sue A-Train. And then that's where Billy Butcher comes in. See, Billy Butcher, who at first was thought to be FBI, but instead was a secret force, anonymous force that wasn't really linked with the government that goes after soups. They basically hunt down and body soups for a living. And, you know, Billy Butcher has a very personal reason for not messing with Homelander and Soups in general, especially Homelander. So he gets the band back together. There's two major members who were in the squad, Frenchie and Mother's Milk. First, let's start with Mother's Milk. Mother's Milk is, well, an African American brother. He was, being somebody who like kept delinquents in line in like juvie, he was like trying to be a positive role model, and he was a good dad, he was a good father, and Billy Butcher came in to try to recruit him. Now it's very clear that both he and Frenchie don't have the best history, but you're gonna have to figure that out throughout the series. So after he recruits Mother's Milk and later Frenchie, they decide to, Billy Butcher and Huey kidnapped Translucent, who guy can go invisible. So, and Frenchie was also, so Frenchie, Mother's Milk, Huey, and Butcher figure out a way to kill him. And, that kind of let us spark, Now, Frenchie is a very troubled, unfortunate guy, Frenchie is obviously a Frenchman, he's French, and he has severe issues, but they don't fully delve into his character until later on this season, or in, later on, so I'll save that for a little bit later. And they also run into this chick named Kimiko. Now, Kimiko is, unfortunately, she was kidnapped from her home country. She's not from the U.S. She was, stolen away to be experimented on by, some shady stuff in America. And, the corrupt corporation did those shady experiments on her. She was stuck in a cage and everything. It was really messed up. So then, Frenchie and the rest of them saved her. And out of all of them, Frenchie was the one who became the most friendliest and the nicest to her, So meanwhile, while all of this was happening, Huey Campbell was getting to know another superhero, a female one, Starlight, aka Annie. Now, Annie, or Starlight, is, when I said that pretty much all superheroes were scumbags? Yeah, she's one of the few genuinely good superheroes. Blink in a crowd, learn good superheroes. And then, with all that, they get to know each other. At first, they didn't know each other's secrets, but by the end of the series, they do, and they end up getting stronger overall for it, And they, share their love and bond, and they fall in love with each other. And, that's pretty good, So, after we meet the Gorgon, more or less, I'm gonna highlight two key moments. Well, 2 or 3, and then I think that'll be good enough to keep it relatively spoiler-free, but to keep the plot going. Alright, basically Homelander and Queen Maeve were trying to save this airplane, from, crashing because terrorists took it over and destroyed the controls. Now, Homelander, being a Superman knockoff, you expected him to help save the plane, but not only is he evil, but he's also incompetent, so he couldn't save the plane, so he let pretty much everyone else to die. Now, what about Queen Maeve, you may be asking? Simple. She wanted to save them, she begged Homelander to save them, but at that point it was either she joined Homelander and to safety, or she might as well perish with them, because Homelander was not helping. And she saw an entire airline full of people dying. She couldn't do anything about it. Now, Queen Maeve isn't a bad person, and she wants to be a good hero, but she's just been put through the ringer and corrupted so much over the time that she just gave up inside and became, dead, hollow, mentally speaking. But that airliner incident still hurt her on a psychological level. And then another major incident occurred near the end of the season where A-Train, who, was doping, Compound V, which, if you don't know, you know how Captain America got, the super soldier serum to, get his powers? Yeah, it's basically that, but instead of just giving you Captain America's powers, it gives you a random grab bag of powers. That's how so many people, get powers over the years. This corrupt corporation secretly gave random kids over the years a bunch of powers, and they made it seem like it was a natural birth thing, like a freak accident, God himself was giving you powers. But instead it was just some corporation basically grooming heroes to run their pockets. Compound V also has a bonus feature of, doping, making you better at your powers. But it comes at a cost of messing with your heart and messing with your powers. Over time, So, A-Train, being knockoff Flash, was doping the super speed, and now he was having a heart attack while fighting Starlight and Huey. Huey, being heroic, fundamentally tried to save his life, and was successfully able to. So, while this was happening, basically Homelander was in this relationship with this head high-ranking female in the company who was kind of the only one reining him in over the years, kind of the one making sure he didn't go too far. But she hid one too many secrets for Homelander, and one of them was that Homelander was secretly a dad, that he had a kid with, turns out, Billy Butcher's wife. The guy who was leading this force of anti-supes. Yeah, back in the day, Homelander basically SA'd Billy Butcher's wife, basically against her will, and she went missing immediately after. So to her, not only did that basically got his wife killed, but she got assaulted by him. Now, he wasn't able to prove this, but he had a heavy feeling. So he tried to use this woman as bait, as hostage, but because she kept that secret from him, caused him to not only put the baby in danger because, she was also a mother, but also killed her. So Billy Butcher tried to let the bomb go, and he saved him and the baby's life before it exploded. And just as a big middle finger by Homelander himself, Homelander found out where the wife was because she didn't actually die. And that's when we got the reveal that not only is she had Homelander's kid, but Billy Butcher just realized that for the first time, and that shocked him to his core. And those are like the main 2 or 3 details that follow over throughout the future seasons. There's a lot, and I mean a lot of other things that happen, but that's basically like the cliff notes that leads into other seasons. Thank you so much for watching, and next video we're talking about season 2. And all I'm gonna say is, a soup is gonna say Hail Hydra, but the real life basis of Hydra, if you know what I mean. Basically, the Deep, knockoff Aquaman, sexually SA'd Starlight, and he got canceled for it, and now he's facing the consequences of her and all the other victims. Alright, one more thing real quick. Huey and Starlight meet up at this religious event. Huey had ulterior motives to try to get information on Starlight, and in order to meet this guy of interest called Ezekiel. Basically, he's a knockoff Mr. Fantastic, and you need to meet him to extort information out of him. So after they do that, that's basically what happens. The only reason I'm telling you this is because he showed up in season 4's trailer, so he might be important later. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Catch you all ballin'.